take that.
Yeah.
So you're refusing to leave?
I'm refusing to leave.
Why?
Because I'm a Jew, I'm a citizen, and I'm your boss. And I don't leave because you say Jews aren't allowed on the streets.
In the interest of keeping peace here and public safety, you're under arrest for breach of the peace. Take him in.
Ezra Levant is a journalist and publisher of Rebel News, and yesterday he was arrested while reporting on a pro-Palestinian protest in a Jewish neighborhood of Toronto.
Over the last hour or so, we've been getting updates about Ezra Levant, the chief of Rebel Media, who has been arrested by the pro-Islamist police force of Justin Trudeau's Toronto.
They arrested Ezra Levant. Now, some of you know I used to work with Ezra. I have not talked about Ezra publicly for a long, but I'm willing to talk about him now because it is so egregious what they did in arresting him. So he gets arrested, he gets charged with disturbing the peace. The people actually disturbing the police, the Hamasnik protesters cosplaying as Sinwar, they get to sit there and hang out.
Right there is our legal system demolished. This is everything our country is supposed to be, thrown out the window as hired jackboot thugs of Olivia Chow's arrest a reporter on a public road, telling him he's allowed to stand across the street, but he's not allowed to stand on the public sidewalk that he pays taxes for.
Sayer of the Toronto Police wrote, "Hi, Christina. Thanks for reaching out. Nobody is coming on Jerry's show to talk about Rebel News. Implicit in that is disrespect for Ezra and, by extension, the public that deserves answers as to why the terrorist supporters were not arrested, ignored by the police, but the Jew was."
I want to read to you from Justin Trudeau. This is a tweet that he put out in 2022 about threats against female non-white journalists. He said, "The pattern of harassment of journalists is incredibly alarming and completely unacceptable. This type of behavior has no place in our society. No journalist should ever be threatened for doing their job." And yet you were.
Yeah, I mean, our little company, Rebel News, our motto is telling the other side of the story. And I don't recognize Canada. We've never been quite as free as America, but we've been pretty good. Under Justin Trudeau, that's slipping away from us. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
All right, who wants to lead us in Oh Canada?
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true
Patriot love, in all thy sons command.
Leave Palestine alone. Leave Palestine alone. Leave Palestine alone and then go back to Europe.
We will not leave the streets to the Nazis. They're in their own country. This is not Gaza. This is Canada. Thank you for your support. Keep fighting for freedom.
Sorry, whoa, which corner? You said south. Sorry, on the, Okay.
So what's the plan? Keep the Jews out and then clear path for the Hamas guys? What's the plan, fellas? Hey, how are you? Nice to see you again. What's the plan?
Peaceful day, sir. That's it.
Well, but looks like you're blocking anyone from going there. Are you going to open it up for the Jews?
We're not blocking anyone, sir.
Well,
that's just so no one gets onto the roadway and gets injured. That's it.
okay, so if I go over there just to do reporting, not to engage with the Hamas side, standing on a public property, will I be allowed to stand?
All I care about is that no one gets hurt or assaulted or anything like that.
In this chilly weather, I appreciate you being here. Our official program will start at 9 a.m. and it's a very simple program. We're going to cross the street on the light. We're not going to jaywalk. We're going to go over to the other side where for the past several weeks, pro-Hamas extremists, many of whom are not even Canadian citizens, have brought a torrent of anti-Semitic hate and even threats. And we are going to do something very simple. We're going to stand on the public sidewalk. And my colleague has with me letters from our lawyer, Leora Shemesh, who's a very senior criminal lawyer here in Toronto. And it is a form of a legal memo, which we sent to the police yesterday, both the police headquarters and the local attachment outlining an important court case. And I'm just going to take a moment to tell you about that court case. A man named Fleming had a flag like this, a Canadian flag, and he was standing at the side of the road, and he was protesting in Caledonia. And some counter-protesters started to move towards him. And the police arrested Mr. Fleming. Now, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't doing anything criminal or illegal in any way. He was just holding a Canadian flag. And the police arrested him because they said it was an incitement to breach of the peace. The Supreme Court, in a 9-0 ruling, said that's not the law. You cannot arrest someone in Canada who is not doing anything wrong simply because someone else might have a breach of the peace. In fact, the police duty is to go after the folks who would cause the breach, not the law-abiding bystander. That is the top law of the land. The Supreme Court of Canada, 9-0, issued that ruling. And it's common sense, too. Now, what you'll see is there's so many police here. You probably saw some of them. There's an enormous number of police vehicles. For those of you who ducked into Wimpy's Diner for a hot coffee, there's a bunch of cops in there too. There is no reason at all why police have to manhandle law-abiding, peaceful Canadians. So if they were going to enforce the law, they can enforce the law against the people who would be violent. The people who have come in from afar. This is a residential area. There is no political target in this area. There's no embassy or consulate. This is a residential area with apartments, many of whom are Jewish residents. That is specifically why the Hamas activists have come here, to taunt and defame Jews. You don't have to be a Jew to find that upsetting. That's not the Canadian way. Just the same as if there was a KKK protest outside a black church in a black community, you don't have to be black to find that odious. And what we see instead is the police running cover for the modern version of the KKK. And just like the KKK, many of them wear face masks because they're cowards and they want to hide their identity, and it's also more menacing. None of us have masks because we're proud of what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We're simply asserting our rights. Please follow me.
Free Canada!
It's not for Ezra, it's for Canadians. Hello, officer. Good morning, how are you today?
How are you?
I brought some of my friends.
Yep, no problem at all.
And I'd like to tell you what I plan to do.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like your feedback if you have any advice for me. So these people are all different backgrounds, different religions, different races. The one thing they have in common is they're Canadian citizens who think we have the right to stand on the public sidewalk, even if a Hamas activist might be upset by that. I've talked to everybody here and I've encouraged them to be completely peaceful.
Yep.
Not to talk to the Nazis or the Hamas side, because there's no fruit in that. I've also told them that if they're arrested, to comply, not to resist arrest. And I would find that extremely unfortunate if that happens, but we're not going to be violent. The violent ones, the threatening ones, are the Hamas thugs.
So we're just maintaining the peace, right? Obviously, everyone's out here to peacefully protest, and we're going to maintain the peace and ensure everyone complies with that.
But there's two ways to maintain the peace. One is to stop the violent threateners. The other is to take the peaceful people off the sidewalk. So it's my hope that you will not arrest my peaceful citizen friends. And if any threats are...
of the how they are right now, no one's getting arrested.
All right.
Everything's going to run smoothly, all right?
Now, I'm sorry, I'd like to give you a letter which we sent by email to the headquarters and to the local detachment.
Have you sent it already?
Yes, we sent it by email yesterday.
That's fine. Then they'll get it. You don't have to give it to me.
Okay.
They'll get it.
This letter outlines the case called Fleming versus Ontario, which was a Supreme Court case. But listen, it's nice to see you because I felt like 2 weeks ago when we saw you here, I know that you actually helped us by investigating an assault by these Hamas thugs against one of our reporters. So thank you for that.
No problem. Enjoy your day.
Okay, thanks. There you go. Well, let's get the coffee and donuts set up, and we're going to be on the street. You know why? Because we're Canadian citizens, and we don't yield the streets because some Hamas thugs tell us to.
Right.
Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
All right. Who wants to lead us in O Canada? Who's got a beautiful voice? You want to start things off? All right, you get us started.
O Canada, our home and native land, true
Patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Well, Catherine, you have a beautiful voice. Great to see you.
I need a selfie with
Sure.
you. I gotta get it out
Okay.
on social media.
I just want to say God bless Rebel News, and God bless you guys for the hypocrisy that we're viewing. Trudeau owns the police, he owns the media, and this is the only bright light shining on what's going on. But we really appreciate you.
And Ezra Levant, you're amazing. The reason I'm here is because I absolutely don't agree with what happened last week, that he got arrested simply for walking on the street. That's not acceptable. That's not, I've been living here for the past 35 years. I've never seen anything like that. We should be free to walk wherever we want. Anyone, any color, any culture, any religion. This is not acceptable. So that's the reason I'm here today. So thank you, Rebel. Thank you, Ezra Levant. Thank you for what you do.
Well, folks, as you can see, it is the return of the bloody couch. Now, this isn't an example of bad housekeeping. This is a prop where, as we observed last week, they had somebody on the Hamas side basically cosplaying as Yahya Sinwar. He was the mastermind of the massacre that happened in southern Israel last October 7th, 2023. And it is, again, just ramping up the rhetoric, isn't it? This is a vigil, if you will, for Sinwar. We're waiting for the cosplayer to show up. I wonder who it's going to be. Oh, I see Mr. Anus. Mr. Anus, who is playing Sinwar today? Is it you? Oh, this is interesting. The symbolism.
It looks like it's you.
I know it looks. You know what? I think they're trying to communicate. I think they're sending a message. They've got a replica hat. I think that's supposed to represent me. So they have put my hat on the bloody chair. You know, Anus, that's not very nice. Why would you do that?
How you doing, Menzies?
Yes.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free.
So you won't answer the question.
Free, free Palestine!
Now, this is Anus. He is the one that goes to 32 Division to order the police around for subsequent, I guess, crowd management, protest management. This is not conjecture, folks. Check out what we encountered a couple of weeks ago when I was coming out and Anus was coming in.
Intifada!
So,
Long live the Intifada!
What was he doing there?
Intifada!
Now he is chanting genocide. And really,
Intifada!
I thought that's why he was at the cop shop. He was turning himself in for breaching Section 319 of the Criminal Code.
And I'd like to say one more thing. There's a lot of us old people. Get out of your chair, get off your ass, and come down. You know what's going on. You know what the country that we built. Come and save it. Save it for your grandkids. Save it for your kids. Like, for God's sakes, you know what's going on. You're smart enough. Get down here.
We see illegal trespass at the University of Toronto for months, and we wonder where the police are. And shockingly, the answer is acting as concierges to the Hamas side. I see some Hamas thugs down there. I'm going to go make sure that the police are doing their job. Nazis out! 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 Look at the cowards covering their faces! Look at the cowards covering their faces! Cowards cover their face! Cowards cover their face! Cowards cover their face!
Ezra, please. 5 feet.
We will not leave the streets to the Nazis. They're in the wrong country. This is not Gaza. This is Canada.
I'm sorry. I didn't see you guys.
This is not Gaza. This is Canada, not Gaza. Nazis out. No, I'm standing my ground, officer. I'm standing my ground. Today I'm standing my ground.
This tree right here. We were here. Right here. Thank you. This tree.
I don't understand. We were here.
I'm asking you guys. Listen.
No.
Now it's a public safety issue.
No. Public safety. They should be leaving. I pay taxes in this community. I pay taxes in this community.
This is exactly, Ezra, what I don't want. Someone stepped on his foot. Listen, stepped on his foot. Accidentally. Listen, we don't want that kind of violence.
I'm talking to the
We don't want
boss.
that violence, eh? Yeah, you have a right to be here, but we're maintaining the peace. Last week when I was here and they were there and you came over, I allowed you to come over. And I allowed you onto your side. So it's not fair that you come here.
We'll stand here.
Let me finish.
We'll stand here.
It's not fair that you come here first and I tell them to leave. I never did it to you. I let you stay on your side. So don't say that it's unfair, because it's not unfair. I never arrested him. So don't say I did, okay? I did not arrest him. So let me say it, Ezra. When you came and they were here, I allowed you to stay. I allowed those that want to be interviewed by you to allow them. And I hope you shake your hand in front of everybody, because that's exactly what happened. I am not telling them to leave. What I'm going to do is make, so let me ask you a question.
I didn't ask you to tell them to leave.
Leave. Tell them they got to leave.
Well, I can shout that at them.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to maintain a line with police officers and keep the two groups apart. If people want to be interviewed by you, and I know some do.
I don't want to talk to them.
But what we're going to do, I'm here to maintain peace, and that's exactly that.
Right, well, let me.
And you're still here, and you're still here. And what's the issue?
Did you buy the officer here?
No.
For sound?
No, not right now. Okay, so.
All right, let me make some comments to my friends.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, my friends. I've just spoken with the big boss, Officer Ford. Staff Sergeant, is that your title?
Yeah, that's fine.
Staff Sergeant Ford, and he says that in the interest of freedom of assembly, that the Hamas Nazis are allowed to be on the sidewalk. And my point of view is that is the right that we have sought for ourselves, the right to be on the sidewalk. And so I don't object to the staff sergeant saying even Nazis have civil rights in Canada. That's one of the differences between Canada and Gaza. And how ironic that these Nazis come here seeking to undermine the very freedom that they are abusing. So we have retaken the square. We're not going to drive out the Nazis, because they do have certain civil rights, even though they're despicable, even though they're racist. I would encourage the staff sergeant to enforce the law against them if they engage in assault or other mischief or uttering threats.
And it will be.
Because that has been glossed over by police these past years. But our goal here today is to stand our ground, not to drive out the Nazis. We can chant that the Nazis go out, but I accept the police argument that they have the right to stand here even if they're odious. One of the things about freedom of speech is you have to give it to your opponents if you want it for yourself as well. That's a distasteful thing when it's Nazis, but that is what we believe in.
It's just the fact that it's finally gotten to me. I see nothing but graffiti and violence on the other side, and I've never seen one protest from even this side to be terribly violent.
Why is it important to come out and be here today?
I want to come out and show my support for Ezra Levant and stand for the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Seeing him unjustly arrested, practicing journalism, arrested on a public sidewalk for doing his job, and which is his right to do. That was why I wanted to come out here today, just to show my support.
Leave Palestine! Leave Palestine! Leave Palestine alone! Leave Palestine alone! Leave Palestine alone and then go back to Europe!
Why don't you take your mask off, you coward?
Do you believe that we are on stolen land right now?
100%.
Well, then what are you doing here?
The settlers here.
What are you doing here?
Oh, we're all generational settlers here.
Well, shouldn't you lead by example and leave?
Why would I leave? I'm over here and I'm standing up for their rights.
No, but you're standing on stolen land, sir.
Yeah, but I'm standing up for the indigenous rights.
Okay, how?
We're standing here, we're supporting one indigenous group, and we're supporting the Canadian indigenous group as well.
Then why don't you go back to the Middle East and put your, actions speak louder than words, wouldn't you say? So you're just here.
I'm a Canadian, and I'm on Canadian soil, on my homeland over here, and I'm advocating for peace around the world.
How come we don't? How come we never see Canadian flags?
I will take my right as a Canadian citizen to go after my government and make sure that they complete their job.
So listen, you had Sinwar last week. Are you going to have one of your cosplay comrades dress up as Adolf Hitler in the weeks ahead?
I'm not. First of all, let me understand. When you talk about cosplay, who's doing cosplay?
We're talking about the person last week who was dressed up as Sinwar.
Okay.
All right. And you've got the bloody couch there. That's part of the pantomime. And again, I really don't care. You've got a hat. I think that's an indirect message at me on the bloody couch. Are you intimating some violence, Anus, towards me?
Sorry, first of all, I don't know who you're addressing, and second of all, there's no violence.
Okay, then why would you put a hat that resembles mine on a bloody couch?
That's just a hat. It doesn't look like...
Just a hat.
Maybe it looks like yours, but that's just a hat.
Yeah.
Unless you want to
just a coincidence.
It's up to you.
Oh, I can sit on the couch?
If you ask permission, we might let you.
Okay, then. Well, I don't think I want to get blood on my haberdashery. It's not real blood, though. You probably went to a Halloween shop for that, right?
Halloween's long done, buddy.
Yeah. Well, there are still places you...
now.
But is it real blood or not?
Sorry?
Is it real blood?
That's for you to find out.
Well, there's a lot going on here on the corner. They actually have signs pre-printed here. I can disobey the police because I'm a Jew, it says. Not sure what they're seeing here. The police are moving the barricade on my foot there. Sorry, here too. You can't help but notice how many are masked here. Take a look here. I don't know about you, but if you've been following protests, usually the ones that are masked are the bad guys. Take a look.
Why Palestine is super foreign? In Germany! Why Palestine is super foreign?
I'm on the sidewalk.
Just your feet there, no? On the sidewalk.
I'm just wondering why you guys are pushing him.
Off the road.
But why pushing?
Off the road, please. Off the road.
On the sidewalk.
For your safety, off the road, please. Thank you. Thank you.
You shouldn't push people onto the road. You're pushing them on the road. They're literally pushing the guy off of the road while telling us to get off. Here we go. Let's take.
No, you're not. You're upset.
Sorry. Excuse me.
And by the way, you were assaulting him. Did you guys get that on camera? They fucking pushed me right out on the street. Now you want me to understand what you guys do?
So what was just happening there?
They pushed me onto the street.
I saw that. They pushed you right on.
They moved the fence to here so they could deliberately get me out onto the street. And then for safety's sake, I'm supposed to walk to the other side. I was standing here talking to a pro-Palestinian just peacefully. And the police came and fucking moved me.
He assaulted him. That police officer assaulted him. Pushed him multiple times for no reason. Hard-handedly pushed him. Almost threw him to the ground. Okay? Almost threw him to the ground.
Officers, we got the footage of it. I got it all on camera. What was that about? What type of tactic was that to push him onto the street?
No comment. I'm doing my job.
Yeah. But is your job to push citizens into the road?
Yes. You're looking for your reaction? Thank you kindly, but I'm not going to give you a comment to give you a reaction.
I'm looking for an answer for the public.
No,
That's
no
what
comment.
I'm doing.
Watch your feet, watch your feet, watch your
Thank you. That would be the better way. So he tells me my very valid question. I wanted to know what kind of strategy is that to actually push citizens onto the road? And he says that that question is to look for a reaction, and he's not going to give it to me, aka he's not going to give it to you, the public.
This is the exact location a week ago where I was arrested for merely standing on the street. You might recall that the officer in charge said my mere presence was enough to have me arrested. I said that's not the Canada I know and love.
Okay.
I don't have to. Canada is my free speech zone, sir.
Sir, I understand that, okay? But
you're violating
your
my
presence
charter
in that
rights.
group is inciting the potential for
I
violence.
haven't incited anything. They have.
Your presence
and you,
alone.
And you have
okay?
obeyed them.
So again, here's where I want you to stand. Okay?
I know you want me to stand here, but you're not
Here
the
we go.
law.
Well, I am the law.
No, you're not the law, sir.
So you're refusing to leave?
I'm refusing to leave.
Why?
Because I'm a Jew, I'm a citizen, and I'm your boss. And I don't leave because you say Jews aren't
Well, you know
allowed
what?
on the streets.
In the interest of keeping peace here and public safety, you're under arrest for breach of the peace. Take a minute.
So I came back today with 50 of my closest friends. And you know what? The police aren't telling me to get off the sidewalk now, and there's a lesson there. Don't give in to bullies. Just because the Hamas thugs outnumbered us doesn't mean they were right. The police took the easy way out last week, but today they're actually protecting our right to be here.
Well, folks, I'm with Jason Bannister of Mad Lab Press, but what makes this very interesting is that Jason is not merely a citizen journalist these days. He used to be employed by the Toronto Police Service. And Jason, that's my question to you. What do you make of what we think is blatant two-tier policing going on in the city of Toronto? Namely, you see calls for genocide and vandalism and violence, Jewish schools getting shot up, places getting firebombed that are Jewish-owned businesses, and yet the police turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to that. But if there is a counter-demonstrator on the pro-Israel side, even doing an obscene gesture, you're going to be handcuffed and taken to 32 Division. What's going on?
I don't know. I got here around 9:15, and I was immediately told to get off the sidewalk. They saw my camera, and I was here for maybe 1 minute. The bias that I've seen here today is unbelievable. It really is.
And of course, you have a target on your back. The police know who you are. They know you used to be a police officer, and they know that many of your videos is calling out police for bad behavior, and they sure don't like that.
They definitely don't like it, and I've gotten a lot of dirty looks today and a lot of glances that make me a little nervous, but I'm standing my ground, and I will stand here and film, and if they want to arrest me, then go ahead.
But I want to point something out, that the police are forming a little barricade around those Hamas thugs so that the Jews can't, or the Jews and other Canadians can't press up against them. But I want to point out that there are 3 Hamas Nazis here. This guy's, for the first time in his life, wearing a Canadian flag, so maybe there's hope. But I just want to point out that these Hamas thugs, They're not being threatened. They're not being assaulted. They're not even being insulted. These 3 Hamas Nazis who every week call for the death of the Jews, call for a violent intifada, they're here and no one is aggressing against them. And that's the difference between Canadian citizens who love our country and who respect odious people, because you're allowed to be odious in Canada. It's not a crime to be an asshole. Versus how no Jews are allowed to come even near those Hamas protesters, or they'll be assaulted, and frankly, police will come in and remove the Jews. So it's quite a contrast that these 3 Nazis are here, and they're so safe that police don't even feel the need to stand by. Because that's the difference between Canadians and these foreign Hamas thugs. I just think that's a remarkable contrast. They're not in any danger and they know it. And the police know it. I think that's remarkable, don't you? Tells the whole story right there.
I've met you many times before.
Okay, well, nice to see you, Bruce. First of all, thank you for coming today. Can you tell me about those medals you have there?
Well, that's the Canadian Forces Decoration 12-year service medal. That's the only military medal, actually.
Okay.
This is the Queen's Diamond Jubilee medal.
Okay.
And the Volunteer Service medal. These are basically just good citizenship medals.
So so that's 12-year service in the military. And what branch of the military?
I was Navy. Yeah, and I was a signalman for most of it, and military policeman for 3 years, which is what the beret represents.
Well, it's a real honor to have you here, and thank you for your service. Can I ask you what motivated you to come? Why are you here? I'm delighted you're here. I just want you to tell our viewers why you're here, and I'm delighted that you're showing your medals. What's on your mind?
Well, to support you, to support the Jews around the world, not just in Toronto, but around the world as well. I suppose my support for Israel, and maybe spend an afternoon in the cell with you if that comes about.
Well, it looks like, thankfully, the police are not going to try and arrest us all. That they would need probably a bigger jail. I don't think there was that many cells where the police station I was taken. I'm glad that things worked out the way they did today.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they did too, because obviously we don't want any confrontation. We don't want anybody going to jail. We want a peaceful demonstration. And actually, I really liked how you pointed out those 3 Hamas supporting Nazis. They're standing here. They're quite protected. Actually, I when I first came over here, this side of the road, I went to the corner right there, thinking, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I was quickly surrounded by a bunch of the Hamas agitators. I come over here and, hey, everybody's just loving everybody. It's free. They don't have to worry about being here. I apparently, if I stayed over there much longer, I probably would have gotten tussled around a little bit.
What you're doing is you're harassing the police. Is what you're doing. What you're doing is just all you're trying to do and instigate to get like social media bits, man. And I'm trying to be respectful. I said thank you for your service. I respected you numerous times. I tried to treat you like a gentleman. I tried to talk to you. I tried to explain to you why you don't want to listen. And all you're doing is giving us a hard time and trying to make us look bad while we're trying to enforce the law. All we're here is to keep you safe.
You're not enforcing the law.
We're here to keep you safe so you can protest and do whatever you like, sir. That's all we're here to do.
Well, what I'd like to do is walk to that intersection.
Oh, goodness.
Why can't he walk to the intersection?
Go ahead, sir.
Why can this person walk through and why can't he?
Why don't you enforce the law? So I can't walk to the intersection. So if I want to cross the road,
I'll tell you this one, my friend.
Okay.
No. You've been doing a lot of talking. Let's talk like adults in exchange. If you want to walk, you have every right to listen.
These guys tried to arrest me because I was standing there just peacefully listening to what they were saying, taking a few pictures and whatnot. And they grabbed me and threw me over here. I'm surprised they didn't put me in handcuffs. I was actually expecting that.
What happened, sir, is that you were asked by a police officer numerous times to stop inciting a crowd.
I told you that it's my right to stand on a sidewalk if I want to in Canada.
They asked you to leave numerous times and you refused to, so we assisted you off the sidewalk.
How did he incite the crowd?
If you were there, you would have seen it.
Threw me off the sidewalk is what you did.
All right. I wasn't there. And was it me that pushed you outside, sir? It wasn't.
You as in Toronto Police in general.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm asking you. I wasn't
He's
there.
a veteran,
so if I want to walk to that intersection, I'm going to get arrested, right?
I thanked him numerous times. I tried to respect this gentleman by asking him to move along nicely. I don't know how many times I got to be very courteous to you, sir. What else do you want from me? What else do you want?
So I can go to the intersection.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please have a great day and be safe. Thank
Okay,
you.
so if I walk right now, past to the intersection, you're going to arrest me. Is that right?
I've explained this to you 100 times, sir.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
What did you do to incite
Yes
the
or
crowd?
no?
What did you
I
do
guess
to
it's a no.
incite? He's not telling
I
you.
was standing over there, just by the Hamas thugs there, just standing there listening, taking a few pictures. That's it. Nothing much more. Other than that, I was just listening quietly.
Here, hang on. Are we coming or going? We gotta keep the sidewalk clear, okay?
Well, you know what? I think I'll just walk down that way for a
Okay,
little
go
bit.
ahead. Go.
Oh, now he can go. Thank you. Why?
You know, I'm just saying to them, look, stop. This is a free country. I could stand here if I want. Wasn't doing anything. They tried to say that I was serving as an agitation point for them. I was simply standing there doing nothing. I was just watching them.
I just want the carnage to end, and I want civilians not to be targeted. That's it.
How do you think what needs to happen for it to end?
We need to start negotiations immediately. Stop sending bombs and guns and tanks and the rest of it.
What about the hostages? What should happen in that case?
Well, that's terrible. They should be released, obviously, right? But I mean, it's not going to happen. It's the only leverage they have.
Well, what's the alternative for
Compromise, peaceful coexistence. That's the alternative. And I'm not hearing that. What I see is a lot of bloodlust. I don't hear a lot of talk about compromise or sharing the land. Well, listen, it's easy to say terrorists, right? Your terrorist is someone else's freedom fighter, right? If you had the boot on your neck for 70 years, I think you might be a terrorist yourself.
Well, when you talk about there's been no opportunity to share the land, what about all of the attempts to have a two-state solution?
Well, the Israeli leadership has admitted they never intended to have a two-state solution. It was all a scam. It was just buying time. They've said it out loud, okay? And that's why October 7th happened.
You're the biggest disgrace. We don't have jihad culture here. We don't have jihad culture in Canada, okay? I am proud.
Everything that you stand for, you're a disgrace.
I stand for freedom. I am proud, okay? I am proud, okay? I am proud. Hamas is terrorist. Hamas is terrorist. Hamas is terrorist.
Mayor Weinstein, he is a recognized terrorist in the USA. The USA, the FBI have considered him a terrorist. He's the head of the JDL. The JDL.
Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hamas is a terrorist organization, okay? Simon Sima came here as a Muslim refugee.
What do you say about a terrorist, a known terrorist, who's the leader of a terrorist organization, the Kahanis, right over there, Mayor Weinstein? What's your take on that? And he's on Canadian soil. He's on Canadian soil. What do you say to that, Menzies? He's a terrorist.
Time for you to leave. Time for you to leave. Get out of here. Bye. Get out of here. Leave. Leave now. Leave now. Get out of here. Leave. Please, I don't want you to get leave. Leave. Get out of here, terrorist. Bye. Get out of here. Leave. 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 Time to go. Time to go. Get out of here. Time to go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Terrorist. Terrorist. He's a terrorist. I'm Israel Klein. Hey, I don't want to start.
What?
As long as we stand for freedom, we can stand everywhere. As long as we are peaceful, we can stand everywhere. Two jihadi, they came here and they wanted to pass our crowd and intimidate us. And many brave people here, Ezra is here, you are here, my friends Daniel is here. Many freedom fighters are here, so they cannot intimidate us. And we forced Toronto police to kick them out. Congratulations to the people that chanted kick them out. Toronto police wanted to appease with them and let them pass our crowd. We hold the line. We didn't let. We chanted, kick them out, and finally Toronto police apply current existing law against jihadists. Let me honest, it was the same situation that Ezra was arrested. Still they didn't apply current existing law. The other guy with the other jihadi, he openly support Yahya Sinwar. He's not even a terrorist sympathizer. He's an actual terrorist supporter.
They are trying to paint the pro-Israel side, Jews who support Israel, as terrorists, vile. They're trying to say that the Jewish Defense League is a terrorist organization. I'm born in Canada. Jewish Defense League is not a terrorist organization at all. It's not according to the government of Canada, not according to the police. It's a complete fabrication. Listen, we're here, our bottom line here is to take back the streets in the Toronto Jewish community that these Hamas supporters have been invading for the past several weeks. And thank God, I say that sincerely, that the Toronto police are finally receptive and finally marching those Hamas supporters out of here, just like they did last week with Ezra Levant, wrongly to Ezra, who stood up for, what was he doing? Trying to document what's going on. Thank God the cops are finally standing up and doing something remarkable today.
Our rights were regained today. There is still elements of two-tier policing. There were minor assaults committed against Canadians by the pro-Hamas activists, and police did their best to look the other way. So I'm not going to say it's 100% success, but I feel like this was a great step forward in reasserting control of the streets. And I hope that people around the country take a lesson here, is that you are the majority, the silent majority who for the last year has been appalled by the violence on our streets. Take back your streets. There's more of us than there are of them. Don't be violent like them. Don't be hateful like them. Just go out on the street and assert your rights. That's what we did here today.
Yeah, hi sir, what brings you out here by law on this lovely Sunday?
Yeah, I'm with the City of Toronto Noise Enforcement Team.
Okay.
We're here just to make sure that any amplified sounds are in compliance with the bylaw.
You know, sir, what a lot of people find perversely amusing, if you can use that term, you're measuring the amplification of the sound, but the sound coming out of the pro-Hamas people, they're chanting for genocide. That's contrary to Section 319 of the Criminal Code, and nothing is happening. It's been like that for 13 months in Olivia Chow's city. Isn't that the real problem?
I can't speak to that. All I'm dealing with is the City of Toronto noise bylaw, and what we're focusing on is the amplified sounds.
Gestapo. These aren't TPS, and I kind of feel bad because they know if they enforce the law, Olivia Chow will attack them, but they become failures. My grandfather fought in the Royal Canadian Air Force against the Nazis. Maybe your grandfather did too. Pay some honor to this country and enforce the law. Yes, I reported to every cop there.
Officer, you gotta report.
Deport this guy. Deport him. Deport. Deport. Deport.
He's a terrorist. Terrorist.
Well, you see there's calls for, I believe, who's the organizer to be deported. Things are getting heated up. The police seem to be sort of expanding the space for the pro-Hamas, but also caging them off like animals. I won't make a further comment on that. But lots of heated emotions here. And again, I would say the more cowardly crew is cloaked in masks.
How you doing?
Yo, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Don't fucking push me! Fuck out of here! on their truck and I'm assaulting police officers.
He spat on the truck.
This is how they keep on doing it because you don't arrest them.
Well, who's in here?
One of the... Oh, it's nice and warm.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what? That was a very smart thing to do. He went to a building where there's a back door. He'll be back, though. He'll be back.
Sir, why were you spitting at our truck?
You assaulted a police officer.
Sir, are you a pro-Hamas or a communist? Why are you spitting at our truck? Why are you running? Are you out of gas or is this one of these e-scooters? You're out of juice. Where are you going, sir? Why did you assault a police officer?
You assaulted our truck once.
We have you on...
Why are you assaulting people?
Sir, you know, with monkeypox being a thing, you shouldn't be spitting. And you're wearing a disguise. I know, isn't it terrible, these electric things? Oh, look at him go! Yeah. Like a bat out of hell, he'll be gone with the morning sun.
Don't hit anyone. You have to resist the temptation to hit people. Don't touch these donuts. They're not for Jew haters. No Nazis get my donuts.
You're an idiot.
Well, look at you. This is the best day of your life. Nazi. Here's a little Nazi.
On my backpack. Palestine sucks.
Whose streets? Our streets.
Palestine sucks.
You know what? I was warming up my boots. I was warming up my toes. And I got this message. There's a Hamas guy being arrested. And I ran out thinking he's going to be some tough guy. It's just some old commie who 20 years ago would have been, I don't know, like I guess in the 80s they would have been pro-Soviet or something. And just whatever the counterweight to our free Western democracy is. I don't know. I was sort of disappointed. If that's the best they got, they don't got a lot. I think one of the things is we've allowed ourselves to become intimidated when actually it's the quiet majority. Like you have the same 20 thugs week after week who come here, and because Canadian citizens don't show up, we think, oh, maybe we're the only ones who are upset with this. But we put out a call just a few days ago saying, come and retake the streets. It is so cold here, but we got 100 people out.
This is Canada. It's a public street. It's a public road. We're allowed to go wherever we want.
We've been trying to interview the fellow with the disguise here. He can't articulate himself. He doesn't look Middle Eastern to me. It looks like, I don't know, a born and bred gender studies graduate. Is that part of the problem? People like this being indoctrinated by the education
Absolutely.
system?
I grew up in Iran. Over there, I came to Canada. The first 5 years I was here, I went to go back to Israel and blow myself up and kill Jews. That was the propaganda they put in our heads. Now, Iranian people, 70% of them, after living under Islamic Sharia law, they know what's going on. These people want to bring that Sharia law for you here because those beliefs of identity politics, those illiberal values, these are not John Stuart Mill liberals. They don't know what's rule utilitarianism. They don't know what liberal values are. These are people with no legal training, no understanding of how it is to build stuff. They only anarchists. They want to destroy stuff because it's always easier to destroy than to build. So they don't want to get a job. They don't want to pay taxes. They want to just create a death cult.
I am going to give this gentleman credit. This is the first time I've seen a Canadian flag on this side. What made you decide to display the maple leaf, sir?
He wants to lie.
Ladies, are you agents of the Iranian regime? Ladies, are you agents of the Iranian regime?
We are Yemen
slogan is, we stand with any country who is stopping the genocide. Stop genocide.
Is that all you can chant?
Stop genocide. Thank you, Yemen. Thank you, Iraq. Stop genocide. Stop killing. Stop. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea.
And that's a terrorist slogan, by the way. You know that. From the land to the sea means the destruction of Israel. Washington.
You know, we've had Jewish schools that have been shot at, Jewish businesses that have been set on fire. We've had old, Jewish couples being assaulted, not just in Canada, everywhere. There's going to come a time where we turn to the police and they don't help us, and we say to ourselves, well, what are we supposed to do? Lay down like it's 1939, or 34, 35, leading up to 39, and like Kristallnacht, and just let them come and destroy our neighborhoods and destroy us? Is this what we're supposed to do? So no. So,
Hello, my friends. It's 12 noon. We've been here for 3 hours, and I am prepared to declare today a victory. A 90% victory, not a 100% victory, but a 90% victory. Here's what I mean. 1 week ago, in this very place, I was arrested, and Staff Sergeant McDuff said it was because my mere presence was inciting a breach of the peace. And what he meant was, the Hamas thugs didn't like me here. And the Hamas thugs said, why? Because I'm Jewish, because I'm a Zionist, but mainly because I'm a Canadian journalist who was exposing what they did. And I thought I refuse to allow that to be the precedent. I refuse to allow my country to have a police force that says I can be taken off the sidewalk for committing no crime other than offending foreign terrorist activists in our country. That just could not stand. So I emailed our supporters of every race and every religion with one request: stand with me. Stand with me even if it means you could be arrested too. And 100 people came out today. And I think that is why the police did the right thing. Because for them to try and arrest 100 of us was simply logistically impossible, and it would be an international scandal. So the police no longer saw it as the path of least resistance to arrest me, because 100 of my closest friends were here with me. So first of all, let me say thank you to you for keeping me out of jail.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I think today was an important first step at retaking our streets. Canada's streets belong to Canadians, and no foreign thugs have the power to kick us off our streets. We proved that today in Toronto, and it's my hope that that is proven every day from coast to coast. So thank you to everybody for coming out today. I declare a victory over the forces of censorship and bullying and terrorism and extremism today. Ordinary Canadians of all backgrounds won, and the Hamas activists lost. Thank you for your support. Keep fighting for freedom. Goodbye, everybody.
Folks, do you feel, as we do, that enough is enough? We've had 13 months of grotesque nonsense in our great Dominion. We've had the pro-Hamas people promoting violence, vandalism, chanting genocide. Here in the Dominion of Canada, it is unacceptable. Please go to our new website, takebackourstreets.com. That's takebackourstreets.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation, because here we are seeing more hatred at the corner of Bathurst and Shepherd. I don't see the mainstream media. You depend on Rebel News to bring you the other side of the story. Please help fund us at takebackourstreets.com.